So if you guys noticed, I did not launch any videos yesterday. I thought to myself, I'm going to take a day off. You know, I've been going in all of 2020, and I thought to myself, I think I need some time off, so I'm going to take some Sundays off for a month or so, and then I'll kind of get back on track and start doing 7 days a week again. But as I was going through notes to come up with videos, I thought to myself, you know what? I kind of want to get back on track and do something where I feature fragrances that I rarely speak about, or you know, fragrances that I'm enjoying wearing lately. So in this video I've got fragrances that I am enjoying wearing a lot lately, so I'm going to tell you what they are. Plus, over the holidays I got a gift from a family member who asked me what I would like as a gift, and I said, you know what, you can go ahead and get me one of the fragrances from Celine. I haven't opened it yet. Can you believe that? You know, there's so much fragrances coming at me. I thought I'd put this off, and trying to do like a haul video, which kind of wasn't coming together. So today I'm going to do an unboxing of one of these Celine fragrances. Anyway, if you want to find out my fragrances that I really have been enjoying wearing lately, plus a little about this new Celine fragrance, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, I'm going to talk about some brands I have never spoken about, and some brands that I've spoken about lately, that I've done videos about them and things like that, that I've been enjoying wearing the fragrances. All of the fragrances I'm talking about today I'm enjoying wearing, but I wanted to put together something where you guys find out what scents I've been smelling and wearing lately. So I'll tell you about the 10, and then of course also I have a Celine fragrance here. Celine is a French fashion house under LVMH, and they launched fragrances in 2019, and they don't sell them here in San Francisco. I don't even know where they sell them except for New York and Beverly Hills, so it's hard to find these fragrances. You have to go to a Celine boutique. So I requested one. I know what it is, and I'll tell you when I get to the end of the video to let you know about that one so we can find out a little more. But I'm going to discuss these fragrances with you. If this is your first time tuning into the channel though and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below, and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So one of the things I hear a lot from you guys is that I always introduce new brands and new fragrances, which is kind of what I like. Always looking for the next best thing, discovering new brands, houses, and things like that. So some of these fragrances I've never spoken about, some of them I have, not a lot, and that's why this video is put together in a way that the fragrances are from brands that are not very recognizable. Although there is one Tom Ford fragrance, it's a discontinued fragrance that I recently picked up that I'm going to discuss as well. Celine is a brand, and I think there's a Cartier ladies or feminine fragrance as well. Those are the only designer fragrances, but the rest of them are niche houses. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with a fragrance from Norway, from a house called SPREKENHUS, Oslo, and they have a fragrance called Courage, this one right here. So this is a interesting fragrance that I have been enjoying lately. It's sort of minimalistic, not overwhelming in a scent. It's a great skin scent for me, but it's kind of spicy, woody, and aromatic. So I think it kind of matches their aesthetic a lot. I think it's a skincare brand. I don't know too much about them, but I know that they're from Oslo, and when you go to their website, you can kind of get a sense of their whole concept and things like that. But for me, I like their whole minimalistic look, as you can see here. This is not the only fragrance they had. They had multiple fragrances. This is a 100 ml bottle, and kind of their imagery, not the imagery, but their concept and visuals kind of remind me of Aesop or Aesop as a brand, but even the bottle's color kind of looks like the Aesop or Aesop bottles. But this is 100 ml. Aesop's bottles are 50 ml. Even as a smell, it kind of goes into that kind of Aesop-like smell, because this one, it doesn't necessarily remind me of Marrakesh Intense from Aesop, but hints at it a little bit, because the cloves in here obviously is spicy, and Marrakesh Intense. I think it's Marrakesh Intense. It's not Incense. That kind of has the spiciness as well. Either way, this is a great scent I've been enjoying. Again, it's minimalistic for me, not overwhelming. It's a little subdued kind of a smell. It doesn't scream, if that makes sense. So if you like screamers, this might not be for you, but if you like the subtleties of smells, this might be for you. And I like the whole concept. Again, as I said, it reminds me of apothecary kind of a look. Either way, that's SPREKENHUS Oslo. I'm probably butchering the name for that one. So the next one I've been enjoying a lot is this brand called Faviol Seferi, and this is Insomnia. So I think that's gonna go right there. So Faviol Seferi Insomnia, to me, is very intense, deep, rich, dark. Obviously the juice is dark. It's a very, very dark colored juice. But when I put my nose to it, it hinted at a few fragrances. So I find that the fragrance itself is not very original, but as performance goes, it's really, really performing great, you know? It's the complete opposite of this one, because this is more subtle and a little more conservative, a little more, you know, subdued. This one's definitely a screamer. I mean, you can tell from the look of the juice, everything about it is just really intense. But for me, it reminds me of Black Phantom from Kilian meshed with Sayat Nova from Bortnikov. I don't think it has much oud though. So in the end, it's more you know, Black Phantom from Kilian, less Sayat Nova. But for me, this is smokier than Black Phantom, so I get the smokiness from it that I find smokiness in Sayat Nova. So in the end, Sayat Nova has booziness. There's booziness in here. It's rum, and that one's rum as well. Of course, Black Phantom had the rum. But this one I feel like it's more gourmand, whereas for me, Sayat Nova is not necessarily ultra gourmand. It's more ouds and smoke with gourmand notes. Well, not necessarily gourmand notes. That's apricots, and I think there's vanilla in that as well. This, again, as I said, it reminds me of Black Phantom meshed with Sayat Nova, but less Sayat Nova and more Black Phantom. But I quite enjoy it, you know. It's different in a way that it's not exactly identical to Black Phantom, but it really does hint at it. But this one features lots of vanilla, coffee, caramel, rum, chocolate, sandalwood, patchouli. So if you want to find out more about it, I suggest checking out their website to see more about them. But this was sent to me. I don't know much about the brand itself. All I know is it's Faviol Seferi, and the fragrance is called Insomnia. And again, one more thing I want to say about that. It's intense. A little goes a long way. Don't spray it on white clothes. It's oily, long-lasting. So the next one I'm going to talk to you about is another brand, a pretty brand new brand called Yvra 1958, and this is L'Essence de l'Essence. So the essence of the essence, I believe, is what it translates to. But if you're looking for a ginger balm, a woody ginger balm with some light lemony touches and some citrus florals, then this one's definitely one for you to try. So this brand, I see them pop up on Instagram quite a bit. I follow them. This was also sent to me. And recently I was on the hunt for ginger, and I stumbled on this one. I was looking it up, and I'm like, wow, ginger in here is pretty darn good. If you like the zinginess and the spiciness of the ginger with the whole freshness around it, you know, ginger is zingy and spicy, but there's a fresh you know, side to it that I like, whereas some spicy notes like cloves, cinnamon can go warm. For me, ginger has the more fresh you know, qualities to it that I like. So in the end, this one is nicely fresh, but also very zingy, spicy with the lemons. Just imagine lemon ginger. I mean, that's a kind of a tea that I've had plenty of myself, and this one kind of hints at it a little bit. So in the end, it's a nice combo, you know. There's even throat lozenges that are like lemon ginger kind of a thing, you know, lemon ginger tea for your sore throat and things like that. So I'm not saying it smells like it, but it reminds me of it. But lots of woodiness from the cedar, some, you know, beautiful spices also of cardamom, but a little bit of the orange blossom pops up, and then there's some tonka and patchouli as well. So that's Yvra 1958, L'Essence de l'Essence. Pretty darn good fragrance. You should check it out if you don't know it. And if you like ginger, I highly recommend it. For me, it sort of hints at also Cartier's Oud Radeau, which is a ginger oud combo. But I find the ginger in this one a little less than the Oud Radeau in Cartier. Speaking of Cartier, I have a fragrance for the ladies from Cartier that I've picked up recently called Must de Cartier, the Pure Parfum version. This one right here. Now last week I did a video on La Panthère Parfum. If you haven't caught that video, please do. But this is something I actually really have enjoyed throughout the years as a smell. The reason I like Must de Cartier is because of the galbanum note. I absolutely love that whole bitter green resinous touches of galbanum as a note. It appears in many different, more classic fragrances like Chanel No. 19 is one, although it has seen a little bit of a resurgence recently, but and that's kind of what I like about it. But I've never experienced galbanum with vanilla before, so vanilla obviously it's a sweet and syrupy kind of a gourmand note, and then mixed with this kind of bitter green resinous style of greenness from galbanum, I find quite intriguing and unique for me. Although this collection has been around for quite some time, and this is the 2015 edition of the Parfum, and I highly recommend it. There's also a jasmine note in here, and you know, one thing I do want to warn, I almost feel like there's a little bit of ambergris, or there's maybe perhaps a little bit of castoreum in there, because on me it slightly goes animalic when I wear it. I'm not sure why. That's not a bad thing, because I absolutely love that whole combination of that bitter greenness from the galbanum with the vanilla. So let me know if you're a fan of this one. As a lady, if you're a fan of this or the series, or as a man, if you're a fan of this, I'd like to find out. And the bottle, obviously, as you can see, is quite gorgeous. So that's Must de Cartier Parfum. So this next one is a fun fragrance. Some of you have been asking me to do a video on coconut fragrances. You know, it takes a while for me to compile all these fragrances, and also a lot of money, obviously. But this one, actually, I'm quite enjoying. It's a coconut balm, and it's called Coco Extreme from Comptoir Sud Pacifique. One of the really yummy coconutty fragrances, you know, it's really delicious. I'm absolutely in love with it, but it's almost like coconut dessert to me. But in the background, there's something like really sexy on it in there as well. Almost like there's like this sparkly patchouli back there, even though I don't see that listed in the notes. So I'm not sure where I'm getting it. So in the end, it's gourmand, but it's also got this kind of like fun and sparkliness about it. But what I like about this one is lots of coconuts. It's in fact a coconut bomb. If you like coconut, you should definitely get it. But this is a gourmand coconut. It's not an islandy coconut. It's not a suntan lotiony coconut. It's definitely gourmand. And Comptoir Sud Pacifique does great gourmands, and their fragrances are under $100. I mean, there are a few misses in the house. This one for me is not. I absolutely love the way it smells. So coconuts, vanilla, milk, almonds, sugar, tonka beans. There you go. It's lots of gourmand notes meshed with coconuts. How many of you are fans of coconuts in fragrances? I'm sure you guys know about Virgin Island Water, a men's fragrance that's very coconutty, although it's more like an islandy coconutty fragrance. But if you like that one, check this one out. As I said, this one is different than the Virgin Island Water. It's more syrupy sweet with the coconuts, but I think if you like the idea of coconuts and you haven't tried this, definitely I think I recommend it. So Comptoir Sud Pacifique Coco Extreme is a great fragrance from, you know, this brand of Comptoir Sud Pacifique, focusing on coconuts. So this next one is the Tom Ford fragrance that's discontinued. This is, I think it's discontinued because I bought it, like I found a bottle on eBay. I don't usually shop on eBay, but I found this and I snatched it up right away because I kind of want to get into it. Recently I bought a bottle of Noir, Tom Ford Noir, from a outlet store, and I thought, you know what? I had worn that back in the early 2010s and I had stopped, and I kind of fell in love with it after I bought that Noir. So I decided to take advantage of the eau de toilette of Noir since it is on its way out. So this one It's olive noir, but much fresher, and it's actually a little easier to wear. It's one that you can wear when it's a little warm, although I'm just testing it out now. I've tested it out before, never owned a bottle, but I feel like it was definitely worth it for me to try because I found it for around 100, and the signature line of fragrances, 100 mLs, are around $175, maybe even 180 at Tom Ford. So I felt like it was a good price, and since it was on its way out, I snatched up a bottle because I love the smell, you know? I felt like Tom Ford's Noir is sort of like a different take on the whole iris thing, because I believe there's iris in the original. I don't see iris in this particular Eau de Toilette version. All I see notes listed are Oriental notes, spicy notes, there's some citruses, there's some herbal aromatic notes, some spearmint and lemons. Pretty darn good. It's really, really good actually. I quite like it, and I'm glad I have it. So this one matches Noir, definitely has a similar smell. Noir Extreme is so different compared to these, although it might hint a little bit at Noir. And then Noir Anthracite, which is also discontinued, is so different compared to all three of the other fragrances in the series. But either way, I quite like this one. I'm glad I bought it, and it's smelling great. So that's Tom Ford's Noir Eau de Toilette. Let me know if you're fans of that one, and if you have it, and or the other ones in the collection. And I think the Noir Extreme is probably the most popular, but Noir and Noir Eau de Toilette definitely deserve it. And I also love Noir Anthracite. I really do, but I think that was a complete miss. People hated it for some odd reason. I don't get it why. Maybe it smells too old-fashioned. So a lot of you have been telling me to check out some of the other Bentley fragrances. I keep speaking about Bentley for Men Intense, one of my favorite fragrances. So I went ahead and ordered For Men Absolute. Even though this one is similar to Papyrus Oud from Parlez-moi de Parfum, even though they're both created by the same perfumer, and the same perfumer also created Gucci Pour Homme, the first one. I get why it's quite popular. So it's resinous, it's woody, it's spicy, and slightly smoky. And incense comes to mind, obviously. So this one has Galbanum, cedar, pink pepper, papyrus, oud, sandalwood, amber, and ginger. So this is actually very smoky on me and very woody. And it's also kind of cold. It's not a very warm fragrance. So there's a fresh, cool, crisp spiciness about it. But I quite like it. So it's kind of a forest with a fire of incense. Maybe perhaps a church service where you can smell the incense smoke. Kind of a thing visual comes to mind. Maybe there's some snow outside. You can see the fireplace, maybe perhaps smoke coming out. But there's also the church service. This is what I get with this particular fragrance. Pink pepper is definitely prominent, so it is spicy. But those notes complement one another really, really well. I think pink pepper with incense or Galbanum really does complement one another, because I felt like Galbanum or incense or frankincense has a peppery quality to begin with, and I could see the connection. The oud is not so standout. The papyrus is I absolutely love that note. And then ginger, there is this kind of a zinginess about it. And ginger is something that I'm quite interested in lately. And I find that here, it doesn't appear right away. As it's drying down, it appears a little more. So I kind of like that kind of segue with this zingy spiciness with the ginger. It's not one of the prominent notes, though. For me, the Galbanum and the cedar and the pink pepper and the papyrus totally stand out with this one. So anyway, that's Bentley for Men Absolute. Let me know if you're fans of it. Let me know if you've compared it to Gucci Pour Homme 1. Let me know if you've compared it to Parlez-moi de Parfum, Papyrus Oud. Again, as I said, all three of those fragrances, this one and then the other two, are created by Michel Almerac. So obviously, they're kind of very similar idea. So one more fragrance, and then I'm going to move on to the Celine and tell you which fragrance I got. Now this next one is from a house of Panah London, and this is Rose Grandeur, this one right here. So interesting that this one has a little red something floating around inside. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like a red oily bubble, or maybe some kind of a glass or something. Anyway, Rose Grandeur is a very rosy, powdery fragrance. Lots of rose, lots of patchouli, orris with powdery notes, and there's some vanilla in here as well. So for me, I like the combination of the patchouli with the rose. It's a beautiful combination, but it gets very, very powdery. So even though this one's unisex targeted, I feel like it does lean feminine. The whole powderiness with the rose. There's a little bit of a feminine, not necessarily girly, but you know, an older, mature woman kind of a smell to it, which is definitely not bad, but I can see some guys kind of, or men saying that this leans feminine. But I quite like it because the rose and patchouli are pretty stand out, and the whole connection and combination with the powder, the powdery touches of the orris and the powdery notes is quite beautiful, I think. I have now seen this style pop up twice here in Rose Grandeur, and then also in Nishane's Non-Shea, which is also a rose patchouli powdery experience. This one actually, to me, the rose and the patchouli are a little more stand out, whereas for me in Non-Shea, the Nishane Non-Shea, I felt like there are more flowers in addition to the rose. So the rose is a little toned down in that, and it's mixed with other flowers, whereas here it's mostly about the rose as a flower with patchouli, if that makes sense. So in the end, I felt like they have similarities, but they're different in a way that they're not identical, if that makes sense. But it is beautiful. It's a beautiful fragrance. Rose Grandeur from the House of Panah, London. Let me know if you've tried it and or if you've tried any of their fragrances. So that's the last one that I've been enjoying. Now on to Celine. Celine's fragrance came to me like this. As I said, I got it for Christmas, although it came late. It was after Christmas. So I haven't opened this up since then. And the fragrance I received as a gift from a family member, and they asked me what I want, and I said, why not perfume? So I basically got, does it say it? Maybe it says it right there. It's Reptile. So I told them to just take a guess. Just don't get me Dans Paris or Dans Paris. I think that's how you say it, because that's the one I had bought when I bought it from the Celine boutique. So this one, they do send you 2 samples, and according to their website, I went and I'm going to buy 1 or 2 more. I'm going to start digging into this house a little more. Let me know what is your favorite from Celine, if you have a favorite. If you're curious more about this brand, I did a video on Dans Paris a year and a half ago. You can go check out my video, and I also sampled a few other fragrances in there. So they send you a couple of samples also. They send you a sample of Reptile, and they send you another sample. So basically they say that smell the sample, and if you don't like it, you can return it as long as the fragrance is not opened. I've already smelled all of the entire collection, so I'm going to go ahead and open this and then do a spray from the actual fragrance. Now let me know again, as I said, if you're fans of this house. Have you sampled any of their fragrances? Celine used to have fragrances in the 2000s, I believe. Then they stopped their fragrances, and then now they came out with this more exclusive line of fragrances, kind of like you know, Dior Privé or Maison Christian Dior, and then the Louis Vuitton fragrances. Again, both of those brands are under LVMH, just like this one. I'm having a difficult time opening this one up. I think you have to twist that off. Yeah, like that. So Reptile is in here, right there. And I'm going to go ahead and spray this one here. In fact, I'm going to spray myself. So when I sampled this one in their store in New York City, I felt like by the time I got to the end, this is part of the latter collection, and then the way the sales associate did the smelling for me was to start from the first, and we had to work down. So this was a leather, obviously, it's Reptile, it's a leather, musk, cedar, oak moss, black pepper. And for me, this is not your like big bad boy kind of leather. It's a very unisex leather, and it's also not overly intense, so that's what I picture this one as. I find it very aromatic, so there's some aromatic touches. They don't credit the aromatic touches, but I find that there's some herbs to give it my kind of like this aromatic touch in conjunction with the leather. You know, I like it. It's not your overpowering leather. It's not like Tom Ford's ombre leather or Tuscan leather. It's a little more aromatic to me. I find green touches in here and some black peppery touches as well. So either way, that's a Reptile from Celine. Now this is my second one that I have from this collection, but let me know what is your favorite fragrance from Celine, and if you'd like to see more videos about this house because I'm going to dig into their fragrances further. And if you're curious more, go check out my video on Dawn's Paris. I think that's how you say it. I'm bad with the French. These are all French names, although this one's Reptile. The one I'm actually eyeing is another one of the latter fragrances, the deeper, darker, richer fragrances called Night Clubbing. Let me know if you have experience with that one. There's the California one. There's several. I mean, I fell in love with several of them when I was sampling them, and now I have Reptile. Anyway, those are my thoughts on today's fragrances. Let me know your thoughts on the fragrances I spoke to you about today. Have you sampled them? Do you own them? Do you like them? Or after watching this, is one excite you to check out? Put some comments down so I can find out. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching. As I said, please do like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.